Before the September 11th attacks that devastated Lower Manhattan, this was the largest loss of life in the history of New York City. The morning of June 15, 1904, dawned with a warm breeze drifting through the streets of New York as the sun slowly began illuminating the towering structures of Manhattan's Lower East Side. In the heart of Kleindeutschland, also known as Little Germany, families stirred in their tenement apartments, dressing in crisp white dresses, pressed trousers, and polished shoes. The air buzzed with the community's excitement. It was a special day, the annual and long-anticipated church outing to Long Island, a much-needed escape from the crowded city streets. Mothers adjusted bonnets on their daughters, fastening the ribbons tighter to protect against the summer breeze. Boys, dressed in their best suspenders, chased each other down the stairwells, laughing, eager to spend the day on an adventure with their friends. The sidewalks were bustling with conversations. Some spoke English with German accents, while others conversed in German, all united in anticipation of the day ahead. As they neared the East River, the General Slocum came into view, a proud white sidewheel steamer, its flags snapping in the breeze. Families gathered at the pier, waving to neighbors, their baskets filled with sausages, fresh bread, and homemade cakes. The ship's crew bustled about, securing ropes, calling out instructions. As soon as the gangplank was lowered, the children began running ahead. With a deep whistle, the General Slocum pulled from the dock, churning the water as it made its way up the river. Music was playing, laughter echoed across the decks. Women fanned themselves in the June heat, while children peered over the railing, watching the city shrink behind them. As the steamer glided along the East River, the warm June air carried the scent of salt and smoke from the city's factories. For a moment, the breeze shifted, cooler than before, sending a ripple through the flags overhead, an omen unnoticed in the day's excitement. Unseen in the shadows below deck, something smoldered. A stray spark, perhaps from the boiler, perhaps from a discarded match, landed in a forgotten pile of straw and oil-soaked rags. Slowly, in the stale darkness, embers glowed to life, feeding on the ship's neglect. Above, laughter and music drowned out the first whispers of disaster. The General Slocum carried over 1,000 souls upriver, unaware that fire had already begun its deadly ascent. At first, no one above noticed the creeping tendrils of smoke, but as the flames spread, panic followed. A mother clutched her child, eyes wide with terror. A crewman shouted for water, but none came, but the hoses crumbled in their hand due to extensive rotting, rendering the life-saving equipment completely useless. Life jackets also turned to dust in the desperate fingers of the panicking passengers. For most on board, there was no escape. The fire raged. The ship ran aground, but the current pulled it loose again. Smoke blackened the sky. From the shore, horrified onlookers watched as the General Slocum, a floating Inferno, drifted out into the deeper water and began to sink.